website right now and download my free course on alternate picking mastery. It contains 5 essential exercises that will take you to alternate picking mastery faster than you can imagine. And then I've included my method of how to lay out a practice plan in just 1 to 2 minutes that will absolutely boost your results like nothing you ever tried before. So go download it right now. It's free. Hey, what are exercises good for? That's the major theme of these videos this week. And there's one really cool area where you can get so much out of doing exercises, but because most often we do exercises that are, nothing wrong with playing chromatics, but you want to do something that either really is applicable when you go out and play. Stuff you can actually use when you're soloing or playing. Or you want it to be an exercise that encapsulates the challenges of any given thing. Like, you want to do an exercise that says, okay, what's the challenge I'm struggling with when I'm playing licks or when I'm playing these things? Oh, it's rhythm. Oh, what kind of rhythm? Well, it's triplets. Okay, let me design an exercise where I go through the ways of playing triplets and really become good at them. Suddenly you're just clapping stuff, right? You're doing exercises now. You're not playing guitar even, or you're strumming stuff with muted strings. That's an exercise. But it's an exercise designed to solve a problem, a challenge, and then kill it, hone in on it, and then make sure that you really focus where you can get the biggest bang for your buck. And that's a cool way of doing exercises. And we have a new program out that's just filled with right-hand exercises that will absolutely develop this part of your playing to the highest level. And in the fastest way possible. It's like lifting weights, right? You don't go around lifting weights or 100 kilos or 80 kilos every single day, but when you're in the gym, you take on a weight that's much bigger in order for you to walk around easily and lift whatever the stuff you want to lift or do during the day. That becomes super easy because you go into the gym and you do that work with the extra weight. And the same thing goes for this program. So go check that out. We got a link underneath this video. But so what are my favorite exercises when it comes to muting? Because muting is one of those, it's such a detailed little thing we have to do when we play our lines. Right? We palm mute a little bit, right? Sometimes a lot, like. And then we don't palm mute. Right? We use that as an effect, as a thing we, in order to express ourselves, like vibrato and anything else. Then we got the left-hand muting, where we basically just want our strings to make noise instead of notes, right? How do you do that? And I designed specific exercises for myself when I wanted to learn this, because I could easily see that if I was to play all these, all these licks involving muted strokes and not muted and palm muting, it was too much at one time. So I had to pull the different techniques out of it and then do the exercises and then return to playing whatever it is that I want to play and put the elements together, the different little techniques. So let me just give you these exercises that I created for myself, and then you can just take those or design your own. So let's look into it. When it comes to muting, the first thing you need to think about is where you position your hand. And I take, as I've been saying many times in these videos, I take my PC bone, which is right where the hand becomes the wrist, right here in the corner. There's kind of a bump there, and I put that where the low E string meets the bridge. But that's not the only truth. That's what I do when I'm ready to palm mute. And then if I have the right position, I can hear it because I can palm mute all the strings from there. If I don't want to palm mute, I just do this with my hand. I just pull it back just a little bit. Not necessarily the hand itself, but just the fingers. Because this is flat on. And as I do this, the string becomes open. So I'm basically picking always, which is the tad of palm muting. But if I don't want it, I'm just gonna change my position to this, from this to this, just moving back a little, because palm mute, no palm mute, no palm mute, palm mute. And if I need that to change, I just need to move my hand just a little bit back. If I do that, this is open, this is palm muted. Even further, open, and now I can't palm mute anymore because my, this part of the doesn't touch the strings anymore when I do this. So it's just a little movement of from this to this, and this is exaggerated wildly. It's more like this is the muted and this is the not muted. That's how little it is. Sometimes if I don't want the strings to ring out at all, I move my whole hand from having the PC bone just right there to here somewhere, because then I simply can't, as I said, I can't palm mute. And it feels like this is the resting place, and instead of this point, it's higher on the hand, and that's what's resting right on the corner there. If I do that, and I need all the strings to ring out, instead of having, I'm resting here on that edge with this part of the hand. See if I can just get it. Instead of here, I just move my hand there. So low E string meets the bridge, and then like that, right? So from here to here, palm mute, and go all the way back here. So it's basically a horizontal movement of just moving back like that. So that's the first little thing, and you can practice that. Cool exercise is to go back and forth on each string between palm muting and not palm muting. It's like this, right? Curving the hand like that. Right? The second muting exercise is to take this part of, kind of divide the fingers up into two groups. You got the two first and the two last. And if you're playing with the two last, or the two first, sorry, then, and don't think about palm muting anymore now, then what I do is I practice. You can practice on one string like that, but if you want that muted stroke, so you go like stuff like that, then you need to mute with these fingers here. And then you need to not mute when you hit the string. So I strum, and then I practice strumming that one note, which is me strumming from the outside and in, like that. Instead of just strumming like this, I strum like that, having that curve in my hand. Right? That makes it easier to hit the right string. Right? And sometimes I hit a little bit of of the other string. So this is a good exercise. You can do it as, first you can do like 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, and then you up until the point where you go one stroke. Right? It's another movement. If it's these, it might be with the second finger as well, but first finger first. And then if it's these two fingers, I have the two behind them to mute with. So I go. That's a little bit simpler because these are just rested all the time across the strings. As I then, now that they're all just laid softly on the strings, and then I press down the third finger but keep the other ones softly. And then, once you've done this exercise, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, and then you, right? Then you can go back and go. Oh, of course, other strings as well. Right? So you get them both. And then what I also do to mute is I keep in close contact, as I said in the previous video, with the guitar. So whenever I'm picking, my thumb is grazing up against the lower strings. From here, if I'm picking the G string, it's great. It's constantly just anchored on the strings actually. Right? What then mutes these strings? Well, my first finger does that, or my fingers does that, because I have them in this position, and unless I'm playing classical music or something where I'm or hammer-ons and pull-offs, I rarely play I play like this, right? And that absolutely, when I'm picking the G string or fretting the G string, I'm almost always also muting the B and E because it's put down on the fretboard like that, so it's touching the lower string. So the lower strings is taken care of by this hand, or you could say the higher strings, right? And the lower strings are taken care of by my thumb. And that gives me that tight control over what goes on here, over the open strings, and whether I want that. And also, I'm palm muting just a little bit all the time. Right? I'm always ready to palm mute a little bit to influence the sound. And I'll use little pinch harmonics, up and down strokes, and I use the muting action. Right? Also, you use that all the time when you play. There's pitch harmonics in here. There's muting and not muting. Open. So I can mute, right? So you might play that's a really other good exercise. You can play a couple of notes with, and then open it up. Every time you play a long note, you open it up to have that sustain. I'm just C minor pentatonic here, D, and the G string, 8 and 10 fret. Right, that rings out, no palm muting. No palm muting, and palm muting. Right, that kind of thing. So really, focus on when am I muting, when am I not, and then make it an exercise where you focus on just that. That is essential, because you can do all these exercises and not get a thing out of them because you're focusing on other things like playing the notes or picking or whatever. Focus on the muting action. That's where the brain learns. So I hope that was valuable to you, and I look forward to seeing you tomorrow in our next video on exercises. And don't forget to go check out the program, subscribe to this channel, follow us on Instagram. See you. Subscribe for more free videos. Do it. Do it now. Do it.